Tomatillos. These are these little papery tomato looking things that are in the produce section, and most people know that they're for the Spanish Mexican kinds of foods, but most people don't know what to do with it because it's so strange looking, but it's not very hard. But I want to show you what they are usually used in. First of all, we have the salsa verde. Salsa verde is made with tomatillos. They are the main ingredient. They give it the flavor, but they also tone down the spiciness because they have a lemony kind of flavor. Oh, that's pretty tart, and it tones down the spiciness in the salsa verdes. And then also, there's the green taco sauce. And most of the sauces that you find in the Mexican food aisle will have tomatillos in them. Some are the main ingredient, like when you read the label on this one, it's one of the first ingredients. When you read the label on this one, it is down near the bottom of the list of the main ingredients in here. Now this can came from Mexico. So to me, this is authentic salsa verde that comes in a can. They also have it on top. You'll notice you pop it open and you can just eat right out of this can. So anyway, these are the two kinds of things that you'll find most of the time. The salsa verde and the taco sauce have the tomatillos in them. Now I wanted to show you the development of a tomatillo. Most of the time they are used green. They start out small, and this little papery shell keeps it enveloped. And they get bigger, and so does the papery shell. You can hear it. And it gets bigger, and this keeps growing with it. And then you'll notice that this one is starting to pop open, whereas the other ones had sealed bottoms. And then this one has totally popped open because it's at the full size. Now, once they start turning yellow, they get ripe, and most of the time they're not used that way. They're usually used when they are green. I wanted to show you what to avoid. This one, if you'll notice, has got the papery shell, and it looks kind of big. But when I open this up, there's this little tiny tomatillo in there, and this one may not be good. Because if you notice, the tomatillo didn't keep up with the size of the papery shell. To be able to access them, of course, it looks like we need to get off this papery shell. And that's exactly what we need to do. You want to run it under warm water and have it running, because it'll get down into side and it'll help pull the paper away from the tomato, the tomatillo. They are related to tomatoes, but they're kind of far from the real tomato that we have. And then as you pull off that, you'll feel a resin. They're kind of coated, they're kind of sticky, and so you want to be sure you rub that off. And it won't come off very easily if it's cold water. You don't want to put hot water on them, so you want to make it warm water to get off the resin. Now once you get them all cleaned up, isn't that very pretty? They are this color. These are like prime. They are ready to be used. The little ones, if you'll notice, they are able to be used as well as the bigger ones. And so most of the time they're cooked, but you can do them raw and put them into salads or guacamole. And I want to show you what the inside looks like. They're usually white or yellow inside. They have a lot less juice than the tomato that we would buy, our regular tomato. There's a lot more meat to it. And if you'll notice, there's nothing running out on the cutting board at all. And that's pretty much what the inside looks like. Now they can chop this up. It's not real spicy like you think hot peppers are. And this goes really well into guacamole. However, most of the time you want to stew them or poach them. And so what you would do is, after you have taken them and gotten them all cleaned up, you would put them into hot water and bring it to a boil and cook it maybe 5 to 10 minutes depending on the sizes of the tomatillas. The way to test if they're done is to take a fork and pierce it or push on it, and you'll feel that it's really soft underneath, and that's going to take at least 5 minutes to do that. And then you would drain them, and then you would use them in your recipes. And there's quite a few recipes on the market for the green tomatillos. Now, if they get yellow, they start getting ripe, and they don't stay ripe very long, and then they kind of don't taste good anymore. Okay? Now, the other way you can do them after they've been cleaned up is to put them into, oh, and I shouldn't have put that one in there, into a roasting pan. Get a pan hot, oops, and put one in, and then you roast it. And you just keep turning it inside of a skillet. And I love the cast iron skillets for this because they, they hold the heat, and you would sit there, and it would end up, when you got done, it would have little black spots from being roasted. And then that gives a roasted flavor to it, which is really nice in some of the recipes. So that's usually the way they're going to tell you to fix the tomatilla, to put it into your recipes. Now, it is very high in vitamin C. It's one of a really healthy vegetable. And it's not as scary as it looks. In fact, it's really quite tasty, and it's really easy to make salsa verde. So if you're going to have any kind of Mexican food, you should do that soon. Now, if you wanted to keep these in the refrigerator after you get them, you can just put them in with the paper and keep them in there a few days, but they actually keep better if you put them after they're cleaned and put them in a plastic bag and seal it up and put that in the fridge, because they're going to keep ripening the other way, and this way they'll kind of slow down a little bit for you. So let's check back and see how our tomatillos are cooking. You'll notice these are the ones we're poaching. It's real soft. It is now the color of salsa verde. And in this pot, we were roasting it, and look at all of the black on it. And as you can tell, it's really soft and it's ready to be eaten. So go to my website. I have some very interesting information about the tomatillos. It is not a vegetable I have used a lot, but now that I've done the research for this TV show, I'm going to be using it a lot more, and I hope you will too. So when you see these little paper, sometimes they look like those Chinese lanterns, that you have for flowers. Everybody wants them in their garden to be bright red. We want green ones. You want them to be paper covered, and try them out, and try some Mexican salsa verde.